What is going on, guys? Jim here, and welcome back to the channel. And I have something very special for you today. I have something that we're going to be installing on this car that I've been waiting for a long time, much longer than the amount of time that I've owned this car. But I will tell you, what we're going to be installing today doesn't just affect my VA WRX, but Subarus worldwide. So stay tuned to see what we've got in store. To give you a brief backstory, the guys at Import Image called me last week and they said, "Hey, Jim, we've got something with your name all over it in the color that you specifically wanted." So I've been talking to these guys about something that's just been missing in the whole catalog across the Import Image website for probably about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year now. So they called me up and said, "We've got a surprise for you. We're going to need you to come down and take a look." And when I got down there, I was nothing short of surprised. I could not believe with my own eyes what came in and what is going to be available to you guys in a very short period of time. Before we just go blasting out what that is, we're going to take a quick look around the vehicle so we get a good idea what this thing looked like prior to our little modification here. So here it is. Take a good look at this thing, just the way it sits. I mean, it's been a good car so far. Nothing bad. I like the color. I like the trim package, I like it all, but it's just missing just a handful of things. Now, we've done a couple of videos now just kind of up in our appearance game with like our noble front lip and a couple of things noble on the back end here, including our titanium exhaust, rear diffuser, F1 light, and probably my favorite piece so far is just this gloss black rear tag bucket. I just really like the way the whole rear end of this car has kind of come together, but it's still something's missing here. Like, we're just not really firing on all cylinders. And in my personal opinion, it's two separate things that we're missing. But, you know, given one thing at a time and what I think would be the best bet for the average customer, we're going to do this one thing at a time. So are you guys ready to see what it is? Are you ready? Because I'm like super excited and I can't wait to show you. So here we go. I'm just going to do it. Me and SpongeBob, we're going to, you know, reveal this right here. Are you ready? Here it comes. Oh man, these things are dope. We are looking at the Cosmis XT005R in my favorite color, which is like the anthracite style gray here with the polished lip. And I believe it's actually got like a black barrel back here, like inside the wheel. So all of this really pops. And I really think with my magnetite gray here, this whole setup is gonna look fantastic. Now, there was a lot to go over here. There was a lot to cover because not only did we get wheels with this, but we also got the Cosmis installation kit. And there's a lot of stuff in this box that I want to go over, but there's just so much to tell you all at one time. So to kind of catch up on everything, our Cosmis wheels, the reason the XT005Rs have been kind of missing for such a long time is because they have kind of converted from the standard cast molding to the flow form molding. Now, there is a lot of debate on a lot of things with what's better. In my personal opinion, obviously the flow form stuff is going to be better, but there is a cost that comes along with that over the cast wheel, and I'll kind of go over some of the differences here. The cast, as soon as the wheel comes out of the cast, it gets kind of machined, painted, all that kind of stuff, and it's sent down the line, and it's a standard cast wheel. But to give you a little bit insight of what the flow form wheels are, so they will be cast very similar to the way standard cast wheel would be, but once it is pulled out of that mold, it's put on a lathe, and through heat and pressure, they kind of extend the barrel on the back and the front in order to get the width of the wheel. Now, that does a handful of things. Number one, with heat cycling that, it kind of manipulates the molecular structure of the cast wheel and makes the barrel section of these wheels much stronger than a standard cast wheel. On top of that, with a same width wheel, like so this is a 9-inch wheel. They'll start out as like a 7-inch wheel, and then that flow form will kind of stretch this barrel out to a 9-inch wheel. So using the same amount of material as a 7-inch wheel, we have a 9-inch wheel, which makes this wheel considerably lighter compared to a standard 9-inch cast wheel. The other thing with Flowform is because we can kind of stretch the lips out in both directions and kind of manipulate our wheel size, we can also kind of mess with the lip of this rim a little bit. So we can change our offsets a lot easier than actually having to produce many casts for all kinds of different offsets to fit your vehicles. So let's just take a closer look here. So I have like the anthracite gray spokes with the polished lip, and like I said, you can kind of see it's a black barrel back there, which hides a lot of the other things back here. So when it's on the vehicle, all you're really going to be able to see is the spokes, our lip here, and then hopefully in the future I'll do some big brakes, and all that's going to just kind of be very focused in this direction, and you're not going to have a lot of, you know, shine and glitz and glimmer everywhere else. So it just kind of keeps your eye focused on the prize. And I mean, these things, I've just been waiting so long for these. I love this wheel setup. It just reminds me so much of like a weld style wheel, and I mean, I'm just a motorsports guy at heart, and so I just love that look and I love that fit. And look, I mean, this thing, I believe this is a plus 38. I'll have to double check on that, but the offset is a plus 38, and we still have a good amount of lip on a 9-inch wheel, so we can thank the Form Flow for that kind of stuff. And I mean, as far as tires, these were just something, because I really didn't expect to pick these up when I did, so it was just whatever the tire company had in stock at that moment in time. I'll eventually kind of upgrade to something a little bit more meaty, a little bit more beefy, but this is a 245/40, but it's just kind of like an all-season tire, an Ironman of some sort, I believe. But the other thing I'm super excited to show you about is this. This is our Cosmis wheel installation kit, which you can purchase separate from the wheels. But what it comes with is all the things that you would need to put these wheels on your vehicle. And I'll tell you what, they do an absolute fantastic job with the way they put this together, and I want to kind of open this up and show you what you get. Also, there's kind of a little surprise when you open this box. I mean, the presentation that they do here is just second to none. So let me pull this open and show you what you get inside your wheel installation kit. Look at how well packaged this is as a whole kit. And the best part is, look, it's got Cosmis right here on this pull tether. And take a look, there's something really cool. When you open this up and pull it out of the box, there's 3 separate boxes that actually create the Cosmis logo inside the box. I think that is just so cool. And I mean, what an awesome idea. So let's start pulling some of this stuff out. We're going to start with the largest box. Once we get our largest box out of here, we have another pull tab that we can open up and take a look at what's inside. It is all of our lug nuts. Now, full disclosure, I did remove some of these lug nuts just for, you know, photos, so they were all there. You know, I just happened to kind of forget to put them back in for the video. But it also comes with its own wheel lock tool. Also, I'm not sure if you can see or count in the camera, this is a 7-sided lug wheel lock key, which all of our lugs are 7-sided, so it's not just like, you know, 4 of the lugs so you can get most of the wheel off and then hammer something on. I mean, you're hard pressed to find a 7-sided wheel lug key, and then because you're all here, you know, I think that's just going to help deter thieves or anything like that when removing. I chose the black lugs, which is just, I think, going to be a good look for our particular wheel set. But let's move on to one of the other boxes. Next, we have our smallest box, and when we remove that packaging, we have our valve stems. Now, take a look at these. Now, I know for a fact that these come in several different colors. Now, I chose the anthracite so that it kind of matches, you know, the wheel that we have. I just kind of feel like that goes with the program here, but I know that these come in all kinds of different colors, from red, blue, anything that you might want. Also, on top of all of that, it comes with an actual valve stem tool in here. So if you need to remove the core, or when you go to inflate these or deflate them, or however you want to, you know, fill them up or store them, or however that is, you have a tool to do so, and it fits real nice into our box here. But I think that both our valve stem tool and our wheel lock key should probably be stored in the same place inside the vehicle. Finally, in our mid-size box, we have one of the most important and overlooked pieces, which is our hub centering rings. Now, these are specific to the vehicle, but depending on the fitment that you get, we can get you some different hub centering rings. I like these because they are aluminum. They're not plastic, so they're a lot less prone to breaking. They got a nice little laser etch on there for the actual outer diameter and inner diameter. Also, you know, all of them fit in the box, but what I think is cool is you can see that these have these two flathead grooves here, and that's for, you know, putting this on the car. A lot of times over time, depending on the climate, you can build up a lot of rust around your rotor there, and it can be very difficult to get these off. So you have these grooves in here in order to hammer a flathead screwdriver in there and then pry it off. So it shouldn't be any problem removing these even in time. So sure, the wheels look cool on the table, the installation kit looks cool on the table, but how does it look on the car? That is the most important thing here, right? Like, it's not any good if it don't look good on a car. So we're gonna throw this thing up on some jack stands. We're gonna get the old wheels off. We're gonna get the new wheels on. We're gonna torque everything up. We'll take it for a little drive and kind of get you an idea of what it looks like with just the wheels on. Which leads me into the next thing. Why would I choose wheels over suspension to be the first modification? And that is a really good question, because I see a lot of people kind of opt for a coilover suspension on the factory wheels before going with an aftermarket set of wheels on the factory suspension. Now, I do think that, you know, kind of for looks purposes, the factory wheels, they're not that bad. Like, you could lower this thing down and make it look pretty good, even if you bought a set of spacers or something like that for your factory wheels. But since I will probably end up putting coilovers on this thing and kind of dialing it in for the setup, I think it's actually nicer and easier for me to put the wheels on first. The reason I say that is so I don't put the suspension on, lower it down, and then get all of my ride height sitting good, get all of my alignment looking right and feeling good out on the road, and then buy a more aggressive set of wheels and tires and throw them on the car, and then have to redo all that stuff all over again because it was set up for a factory wheel set. Since our aftermarket wheels here are a much more aggressive offset and a much more wider wheel and tire, I think it's actually going to be easier for me to put the wheels and tires on, drive it around on like a stock ride height for a little bit, and then once we go and do the suspension, I only have to do it one time. But that's enough talking. Let's get the jack out and get this thing up. Now that we have the wheel off, we can take a little bit closer look inside of our wheel well here. Got a little bit of surface rust on here because I didn't drive the car very much after our rainstorm here in Florida, where it gets pretty crazy pretty quick. But like I said, it's a 2021, 14,000 miles, and this thing's still looking like it's in really good shape. I mean, I still have pretty much all the original paint on the hub here, so no rotting, no rusting, no weird things. Everything in here looks clean, and I'm really excited about that because that just tells me that nobody's really been in here when the previous owner had it and kind of messed with much. It really was probably just some aesthetic stuff that they put on the outside of the vehicle. Didn't really mess with suspension or brakes or anything like that. All this looks in really good working order, nice and clean. Maybe it was power washed under here. Maybe they just kept it clean, you know, the way it was. Maybe it was garage kept or something like that. I'm not really too concerned about why it's clean. I'm just glad it's clean. But there you go. You get a look under the vehicle. Let's throw our hub centric rings on. I can kind of show you a little bit more of that. Then we'll toss the wheel up with the new lugs, and we're going to see how she looks. Got our Cosmis hub ring. Look at that. Fits right on. Give it a, oh yeah, don't even have to give it a tap. So she fits pretty good just the way it is. I know a lot of times with these hub bores, when they age, they can get a little surface rust on them or debris or grime, and a lot of times you might want to take like a rubber mallet and kind of tap it on and make sure that it's flat and you don't have any real gap between the back of our hub ring and the rotor. But because this thing is pretty new, man, it just popped right on. But like I was saying before, if you can kind of see, they have these little flathead marks right here. So if you ever do have an issue where you need to remove this, instead of banging into the surface here and having to mar it all up, you can get a flathead screwdriver right behind here and just kind of pry it and work it off, and it comes off pretty good. Not to mention, I just like the aluminum hub rings. They just hold up so much nicer than like some of the more chintzy like plastic rings that end up like sticking with the wheel or breaking off, or you have to replace them, you know, very soon after you take the wheel off. Take a look at that. Nice, we got one side done. Now this thing looks pretty good just the way it sits. I absolutely love this look, but in typical Florida fashion, in no time, a thunderstorm has rolled in. So I'm gonna hurry up and try to get the other side on the car and get it pulled into the garage so it doesn't get it all wet and nasty. And once this thunderstorm just kind of blows through, we're gonna take it out, take it for a spin, and, you know, see what you guys think. So let me get to work. Well, as you can tell, I didn't quite make it. So I got all the wheels on, everything's torqued up, but I did get a little wet once I got over to the other side. But, you know, we can probably sneak out there for a quick peek and take a look at this thing. I mean, it still looks fantastic. I think the black lugs really do this whole look justice here, especially with the caliper back there. I just think the magnetite gray, you know, with the anthracite style spokes here, it's just the way to go. This is my choice. You know, you could really kind of dial in the weld look if you wanted to go with the black face with the machined edges here, but I just think that this was a good contrast with the vehicle. And I think once this thing is dropped down, it is gonna look pretty superb. But at the moment, I'm stuck in the rain. So we're gonna wait for this whole storm thing to blow over. We'll probably, now since the car's outside and wet, I'll probably just take it through the wash at some point in time, get it all nice and shiny for you. And then we'll kind of do like an official unveiling of what these wheels look like on our V8 chassis WRX. But I'll tell you what, as of right now, I think I'm sitting pretty. Well, that didn't go as expected. That storm front that moved through was actually in the area for about a day or a day and a half. It's actually about 2 days since I left off with installing the wheels onto the vehicle. Once it started to rain, you know, I got them on and it just kind of sat there, and I was waiting for, you know, the sun to come out so I could show you guys what these things look like. Unfortunately, you know, it rained a lot, so it's been a few days. So I will tell you, I've had the opportunity to drive around on these things and kind of like soak in the look, and I absolutely love it. I will tell you, this is one of my favorite wheels in my favorite color for this wheel that are on this, and I really think that it ties the whole magnetite gray look together. Love it. Every time I get out of it and walk away, I just look at it. But I'll tell you what, I'm sure you guys are going to want to see it. I've been dying to show it to you, so let's just hop out of the car and let's take a look at what this thing looks like. So I think that's going to wrap up the video for today. I'm super excited that the 005s are back in stock. I mean, just take a look at that thing. Just admire it. What a good looking car. So stay tuned, be on the lookout for the next video where I'm definitely going to be slamming this thing to the ground a lot sooner than I thought, and it's definitely going to complete the look. I'm super happy with it. I don't think, another wheel in this price point would have ever been a choice for me. I'm super excited with the way this thing looks. But for thousands of parts just like this, plus tons more, be sure to hit up importimageracing.com for all of the best deals on the web and in the world, and we will catch you on the next one.